driving this car. Now, next up, I'm going to move on to climbing into the back. Now, this car has back seats, and as I often do, I'm going to climb into them, which is actually a fairly simple process. First, you pull up this silver latch, which sort of moves the seat forward, and then you just push the seat back, and the seat is all the way forward, and now you can climb in, which I will now attempt to do. And now I'm in the back of the Continental GT. Now, obviously it's small back here. It was designed for occasional use. Next up, we must discuss the back seats. Yes, this car has back seats, and as usual, I will now climb in them. I've moved the front seat all the way forward. And now I'm back here. If I were to put the front seat back, well, there just wouldn't be all that much room, especially if I moved it back into place. With that said, I might as well take this time to dispel an unusual rumor that always persists when I climb in the back of these cars, that car companies put rear seats in just for insurance purposes. That isn't true. The seats, I guess we must now discuss getting in the back seat. Yes, the 3000 GT has a back seat, and getting into it is unusually easy, actually. You just pull a little lever on the passenger seat, and then it moves the backrest forward and the seat bottom forward surprisingly quickly and automatically. Then there's actually a lot of room for basically anybody to be able to climb back here, although it isn't necessarily a desirable place to be. And I'm in the back, pull the seat back, and as you can see, well, there's not really a lot of room, but nonetheless, I'm back here. Now, there's a little handle right here. You use that to open the rear door, so the rear doors can't open independently of the front doors. You gotta open the front door first and then the rear door. Now, there is a rear door just like this on both sides, not only on one side like some pickups or like the Hyundai Veloster. And once you have it open like this, you can just climb on in to the back seats. And now I'm back here and I'm hanging out. Now, there's not a lot of room back here. As you can see, I can't even reach. Next up, we gotta talk back seats. Yes, this car has back seats, which is a surprise because it's really small. And as usual, I will now attempt to climb into the back seats. I've already moved the front seat forward, so you don't have to sit through that. So now, here goes. Ooh. Well, now that's not so bad. Oh, that's a little tight. Now, this works. I can fit back here as long as the front seat passenger is willing to go as far forward as the seat goes. Now, sitting back here, I noticed that there's really nothing interesting in the back seats except for the fact that, well, they exist. So you could drive around some passengers in turbocharged there. Next up, it's time for, well, you know what. Every time I review a two-door car, you people make me climb in the back. It's very uncomfortable for me and very amusing for you. But this car is so massive, it isn't all that hard. You just kind of pull the front seat forward. It automatically glides up, and then you just climb in. It's a little tricky, but it isn't really that bad, and now I'm back here. The problem comes when you want to put the seat back, it automatically goes back into its prior position. Move on to the rear seats of the 850 CSI. Yes, this car has back seats. Even though this was a sporty stick shift V12, it was also a grand touring car, and so you were supposed to be able to put people in back and go on a grand tour. The interesting quirk about climbing into the back seats is that you can put the front seats forward like that, but there's no way to actually move them forward along the rails. Instead, the only way to do that is you push the power adjustment, and then you wait, and you wait, and you wait until there is enough room for you to get in back, which, well, never really happens. Nonetheless, I will climb into the back seats as usual. Ugh. Ugh. All right, I made it. Not surprisingly, it is really tight back here. For one thing, the seats are sort of angled down. Apparently, I have become the person who has to climb into the rear seats of every uncomfortable car ever made with back seats. And so here goes. Now, it's worth noting that getting into the rear seats, just starting the process is rather difficult. There's no latch. You just pull the seat forward and it moves forward. Instead, you have to twist a little handle over and over and over to get it to go forward, and then it just stops. It stops at a 90-degree angle. You can't get it any further forward than this. So this is all you get. And once it's in this position, well, good luck. Here goes. Oh. Oh. Oh man, I'm never getting out of here. I'm gonna die in the back of a Lamborghini Hurrama. You know, now that I'm back here, it's actually not so bad. Of course, the front seat is all the way forward, but it's actually relatively roomy, and I have a ton of headroom. I probably have 4 inches, maybe 2 inches between my head and the ceiling. But just getting back here is the problem. If the seat went further forward, it wouldn't be such a big deal, but because it doesn't, this is pretty much a two-seat car with back seats that are just there. And of course, this car's grand touring capabilities would be nothing if there weren't back seats. So you could take the whole family on a grand tour. So of course, there are, and this will surprise you, the back seats are actually pretty easy to get into and pretty roomy. I've already moved the front seat forward. Watch this. Did you ever think it would be this easy to get into the back of a Lamborghini? Did you ever think there would be a back of a Lamborghini to get into? But I'm here, and if I put the seat back, oh, well, it's a little tight in the sense that it won't actually clip into place, but nonetheless, it wasn't designed for someone who's 6'3". I can get back here. It's pretty impressive. Next up, earlier you may have heard me mention that this car has back seats. Well, I think you know what comes next. Now, to get to the back, you fold the seats forward, and then there's this little seat belt right there, and it's going to make it very difficult to get in back. But you can just fold it out of the way, and then you can climb in very, very easily. Very simple to get in back here. Oh, that's not so bad. Of course, the driver now has no place to sit. Now, there's nothing interesting. Hey, there's someone in your blind spot. Next up, we got to talk about getting in back. And as usual, I will climb in the back to amuse all of you people. The biggest problem that I see is the seat belt. You can't really get it out of the way. But with the seat all the way forward, it's not that hard to climb in back. And I can put the seat back and I'm okay back here. The legroom is tight here in the back seats, but you expect that. This is a two-door car, so you kind of figure the legroom is going to be a little tight, and it's really not that bad compared to what I was expecting. And next up, yes, this car has back seats, and yes, I'm going to try to climb inside them, true to my word. Now, in order to facilitate this, I've already moved the front seat forward about 6 inches. So here goes. Oh boy. I'm so glad this one's a convertible. Ah, pretty good. Oh, now I have a problem, don't I? Well, my butt is not in the seat and my feet are not on the floor, but other than that, this was highly successful. Oh, and the front seat isn't in a position where you could drive the car. Needless to say, you won't buy this for back seats. We'll make a two-door SUV, and we'll make it a convertible, and we'll charge $70,000 for it. Brilliant, but there's a problem, and you start to see it right away with this car. With the Evoque convertible, the utility portion of sport utility vehicle sort of disappears. Allow me to demonstrate by me, a grown human being, climbing into the back seat with the top up. Oh boy. See you, door. Comes time to get inside. So then it's my turn to. Now, once I'm back here, you can see the front seat, even in the far forward position, I can't get it to lock. So this isn't really the place to be if you're 6'3" or 6'4". Now, all that thought towards the rear, the back seats are actually really hard to get into, as I shall now demonstrate. Well, I'm glad they included 4 air conditioning vents and these sun visors, because I could really use some extra comfort. Cars where I make fun of how hard it is to get in the back seat, because these things are usually really tight and I'm really tall and we all have a laugh about it. But I tested it before I filmed this segment and it's actually pretty easy to get back here. Take a look. You pull up on the latch, the seat rolls forward automatically, and then you just step inside. I've gotten in 4-door cars that were harder to get in than this one, and check this out. When I pull the seat back, it's going to go back to where I had it, a 6'3" person. Now, it's tight back here, there's no question about that, but this is about the back. We have to talk about the back seats. Remember, anyone buying this car paid double the price of a Volt for less practicality. Just how much less? Well, here's my attempt to climb into the back seats. And now here's my attempt to climb out. That was easy. Close the door. However, the owner also tells me there is no easy way to get in the back seats. Oh. Seats, and that's really the only placement for them. And speaking of the back, next up, it will surprise you if you haven't spent any time around a Fiat 500 yet, but even though this thing is incredibly tiny, a foot shorter than a Mini Cooper, yes, it has back seats, and yes, I'm sort of the self-appointed expert at climbing into back seats of tiny cars, so here goes. All right, put the front seat forward and begin the process. Oh, well, that actually wasn't really all that difficult. Ooh, a quarter. Put the seat back, and, well, okay. I don't have any room back here. Now, Fiat didn't really expect anybody to use the